I am Elena Williams, and I am a media personality. Some may say I'm a media expert because I do so much in the media field. I am a talent on camera. I also have experience in media production, so that's behind the camera, and I also am in marketing. So on camera, that was my first love. I went to school for news reporting, journalism, broadcast journalism, and specifically in sports. I also studied speech, so also just the science of speaking in front of people. So I started off a sports reporter for the SWAC. That was around the pandemic when that happened. So I started that, and then the pandemic came about. I had to stop. But then I came across a job at Comedy Hype, which is located in Atlanta, Georgia. Shout out to Comedy Hype. If you guys don't know about them, check them out. I used to do a little bit of talent for them, but my biggest thing working with them was media production. So I helped behind the camera. And then I was blessed to be able to have, or become a mother rather, and that's how I found my second love of marketing. Of course, coming out of the pandemic, a lot of people were basically yearning for stability. So me also becoming a young mother, I decided that I needed to definitely do what was necessary for me and my little one. So I actually was in a cohort that taught me everything I needed to know about marketing. So it was kind of like going to school in a sense, but it was like much faster. So I went through the cohort, and then I actually realized like this is something I want to do. And also with the evolution of technology, I was like, this is something that I want to hop on now because it's forever evolving. So I went ahead and started at an agency. And once I was there, I started working for like big pharma, but that agency also had a lot of other big names that I was working for. So once I got that experience, I was like, okay, I'm in here. And then after that, I am where I am now. So now I do a lot of on the side jobs, so contracting jobs where I help small businesses with their marketing. I've helped people that have started books. I work at the Epicenter, Riverside Epicenter out in Mableton, Georgia. I do a lot of their marketing and a lot of artists too as well. So any artist you can name, music, digital creators, all that, I help them with their marketing now. So yeah. So there's a big misconception that, well, a lot of people like to say, oh, you're the person that stalks me and makes sure that all these ads pop up and blah, blah, blah. But really, it's a math to it all. And a lot of people don't realize they're a part of a number. They're part of an equation. When these companies or small businesses, anybody, honestly, want to market their brand and market themselves, you attracted that brand. So what I do is I come in, I help these companies, or I help these brands rather. I'm not gonna say companies, brands, because everybody can be a brand. I'm a brand, you're a brand. Those that are watching are brands, even when they don't think they are. But what I do is I help them find who their audiences are. And so the misconception is, oh yeah, you've been stalking me or this, that, third. No, you attracted that brand. So yeah, that's a misconception of marketing. So I help people figure out who their audiences are, and I help them target them so that they're always being marketed by them. How I got into media personality, if you say. I always wanted to be, as a little girl, let me say that. As a little girl I did, and a big influence was my great-grandmother. So my family is from Trenton, New Jersey. Shout outs to my family up northeast, because I'm the Georgia peach in the family. I'm the only one that, well, me and my brother, my sibling, are the only ones that are from Atlanta, Georgia. But my great-grandmother in New Jersey, when I used to go spend summers with her, she used to always watch the Braves. The Atlanta Braves was her favorite team. And right afterwards, the news would come on immediately. And I would always watch it, and I was like, just intrigued how it was a lot going on, and I was like, goodness, this is overwhelming. Like, it's kind of, I didn't know the words then, but now that I am an adult, they were very putting fear into people. So it was just overwhelming, and I was like, like, the news doesn't have to be this way. And as I got older, I was like, well, why don't we focus on the good things that happen in our community? So then once I got to college, I was like, I'm definitely going to be studying communications. So I have a brand now, actually called The Bright Side of Things, and what we focus on is highlighting the positive things that are happening in our community. I know that positivity does not sell. I know that fear sells. That's something why people watch the news, because they're always on the edge of their seats. But also, I want to be a part of the balance and the contrast of also putting out the positive things. So that's why I went to school. I also have a love for sports. I come from a family of professional ball players. So I always wanted to also mix that in there as well, because I feel like a lot of athletes aren't able to truly tell their stories how they should be. So that's how I came across wanting to study and wanting to pursue being a media personality and in journalism. I mean, you can even say this for politicians, anybody these days. Well, but specifically athletes. Oftentimes everybody has a certain stigma of them on camera and the life they live. And a lot of people don't understand athletes go through a lot. They go through a lot for people's entertainment. And oftentimes when they see athletes crash out or have their moments where they had a bad game or whatever, it's easier to criticize them because you're not on the field with them. So what I like to do, and what I have done in the past with reporting and also interviewing these athletes, is asking them where they come from. How was it being in that moment on the field where you felt like you may have messed up, and where your head was in that time being. So that's also like a story that I want them to be able to tell from themselves, because people take a story and they run with it, and that's not even what it is at all. So my passion of wanting to tell athletes stories, and well, rather allowing them to tell their stories, came from my great uncle. He actually played in the Negro Leagues, and being able to like actually read his story and actually hear him talk about it in person, it was like, wow, this has been a written story that I've seen in text, but what he's telling me is totally different, and there's more depth to it. And a lot of people miss out on that depth to their stories. As a lot of people know, there wasn't a lot of Black people that played it in baseball, and these men literally paved the way for there to be African American or people of color, period, because now there's a lot of Dominicans that play baseball. There's a lot of people that come from the West Indies, you name it, the list can go on. But now they've been able to have the opportunity to play in these big leagues, and they're making a lot of money. They're making more than football players. So it's just, I've always wanted people to know his story, but also like how far we've come for them to be able to tell their story too. I also have my father, he played professional baseball as well. And honestly, seeing my uncle or hearing my uncle's story and then being able to bridge my father's story and then being able to bridge my brother's story, being able to play baseball, and all the other athletes that I've been able to interview and hear their story, it's a connection to me. Especially knowing who my great uncle was, and then also knowing the athletes today and hearing their stories. It's a big connection, and that's what history is. So my great uncle who played in the Negro Leagues, his name was A.J. Jackson. My father who played also in the professional league for the Phillies in the 80s, his name is Elena Williams. And my brother went on to also be a collegiate baseball player. He didn't make it to the pros, but he got pretty far as well. His name is also M.L. Williams Jr. And then, yeah, that's all my family members that have played baseball in the professional and the collegiate level. And they inspired me. So how I decided to go to school, that was always in me. My family always pushed me. I come from two college graduates, first-gen college graduates as well. My mom went to Rutgers University in New Brunswick, New Jersey. My father went to Lipscomb University in Nashville, Tennessee. So that was always in me. I had no choice. I did have a choice. My parents always gave me a choice, but they definitely pushed me and influenced me too heavily. I ended up going to Jackson State University, I love, Jackson, Mississippi. I ended up there because of, I call him my second dad, TJ Hurley. He was a graduate from there, and I was initially supposed to go to Mercer University for running track. That didn't work out for me last minute. And so then he was like, we have scholarship money. And what did I do? I ran where the money resided because I needed them to pay for my school. So I ended up in Jackson, Mississippi. I had the opportunity of being an athlete. I was a cheerleader. I ended up being a captain, and I got the whole experience. You name it, the sonic boom of the South, I was in the midst of all of that. The vibes were high, they were great, and I will never take back my HBCU experience at all. I don't regret it. So anybody that's considering going to an HBCU, do it. It's amazing. I promise you, you won't regret it. And the education is different there. I I also feel like I'm very connected and very certain in what I want to do because I was able to be in small lecture classes and actually work with my professors and my advisors. And I also had really, really amazing mentors while I was there. One of my mentors was Rob J. He is a broadcaster that's in the Hall of Fame in Mississippi, in the state of Mississippi. I also had Jamichael Chambers. He was one of my mentors. And I told you guys before, I always knew what I wanted to do since I was a little girl. I also went to high school and did programs that were connected to broadcasting. I did like the school news and all that fun stuff. So once I got to college, I was determined. I was pretty much determined. I had all the resources I needed to go there. And a lot of people have a misconception that HBCUs don't have resources. And it's true. We do have to work harder to get the resources that we have. But when you're at HBCU, that get it out the mud mentality truly puts you at a better advantage when you're in the real world. Because that's exactly how it is in the real world. It's tough regardless of where you go to school. You have to have that grit. You have to have that determination, that perseverance above anybody else anyway. So it kind of gives you a head start going to an HBCU, I would say. And then also being at HBCU, you are closer in networking. I love how a lot of people that I was networking with in college, I still utilize my resources now. And I love just how like that close, tight-knitted networking is being at HBCU. So yeah, once I got my degree, I was determined. And disclaimer, anybody that is having a hard time finishing your degree, take your time. Take your time because I dropped out to get back in. I had to work 10 times harder to get back in. And a lot of people don't know that about my story is that it didn't take a one time. I had to drop out to come back in and get myself together, but I still graduated in 3.5 years. I'm still very prideful of that. But it's okay to mess up. I messed up. And yeah, you're gonna continue to mess up. But as long as you get back up and you do it, anything is possible. And I know that a lot of people are like, you have your hands in a lot of things. But something we talked about off camera with Tim is like, sometimes you gotta be blessed that you even are busy and that you have a lot on your hands. That's a blessing in itself. And I've definitely taken advantage of that and have really, I don't know, I see it as a blessing now rather than talking about, oh, I'm tired and this, that, the third. So yeah, being at HBCU helped me. It helped me to be able to do that too, to be well-rounded. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for my experience. I'm thankful for my degree, my alma mater, and the people that have helped me to get where I am now. I'm forever, ever, ever, ever thankful and grateful. Some of the people that I have took with me since my matriculation at Jackson State is actually, one of them is my daughter's godfather, Kalen Norman. He's in New Orleans, Louisiana, and he's doing big things. He is a digital creative artist, and he has a lot going on. His networking skills, he is such a quiet, closeted person, and please don't get on me too bad, Caitlin, for putting you out there. I love you. Mwah. But he has such an amazing networking system. Right now, I told you guys that I help artists, and he has so many different artists that he works with and that he brings to me that we're beginning to really truly help market. And so just stay tuned for that too. We're going to be doing a lot of things with a lot of the artists that he has helped me with networking. Also, he's an amazing photographer, videographer, you name it, that man can also do it. And he's also been a part of my networking system in my village, I guess you could say, my professional village. And also family-wise, like I said, he's my daughter's godfather. So yeah, another person that, it's so many people.
Some of the top 2 or 3 names.
I guess another person that we can talk about, Dev Mack. He's an actual artist, a musician, and it was so crazy. So I have a podcast with the Riverside Epicenter, Behind the Sessions. Check that out as well on YouTube. But full circle moment, I ran into my homeboy Dev Mack from Jackson, Mississippi as well. And now we're starting to collaborate we're gonna do some collaboration stuff. But I was doing an interview with Josh Waters, and we're just talking, and I'm like, so who do you know? Because you're from Hattiesburg. Who do you know? I went to Jackson State. Josh had went to Alcorn, which is like our rival. He's like, yeah, I know like Dev Mack. And I was like, hold on, Dev Mack. And Dev Mack is a very, very amazing artist that a lot of people don't know of yet, but check him out. His artistry is like no other. His story is like no other. So that's somebody that I'm very happy to still be connected with, especially in the place that I am now, that I have a podcast where I do interviews, indie artists. It's just a full circle moment for me. And I'm also appreciative of Dev and our friendship that we have. So the Riverside Epicenter is a complex out in Mableton, Georgia. Sorry, they're so close together. Mableton, Georgia is right by Six Flags. You can't miss it. I'm pretty sure if you're riding up 20 West and you pass Six Flags, you're like, what is that building? That's the Riverside Epicenter. A lot of people think it's like a medical building because of its name and what it looks like, but it's not. It's actually sponsored by It's sponsored by the Bronner brothers, well, Bishop Bronner rather, excuse me. Forgive me, Bishop Bronner, and the Word of Faith family, but there's so much in there. It's a venue for concerts, plays, competitions like dance competitions, you name it, whatever you want it to be, it literally can be just that. It has a bowling alley. It has an arcade. It has a rock climbing wall. It has a fitness club. It has a recording studio, a podcast studio. A whole food court. There's shops in there. It's everything you can imagine, like I said. And I help market it. So I do a lot of the promotions, their on-camera promotions. And then, like I said, I do the podcast. So if you have an event that you want to do, you can have an event there. They have ballrooms. It's insane. It is like, you wouldn't even imagine that a place like that could fit everything that it has, but it literally does. And it's cool. Evo Reports, that's my girl. Let me stop. Evo Reports is my professional persona. If you know me on a personal level, more personal level, I'm Elena X Milan, but Evo Reports is my professional persona. That's who I present myself as when I say, hi, I'm a media expert, this, that, third. That's who I want you to say. I want you to see Evo. Evo came from one day I was like, okay, I need something that sticks with people. And my last name is Williams. And so I was like, okay, I need something that's a little bit short because I don't want to always say like, oh, I'm Elena Williams. So I started, my tag used to be, and this has been E-Will, and then I signing off. And it just kind of stuck. Also, like the whole thing that I told you guys about me being very determined, I started saying, E-Will do it. So then I just came up with E-Will Reports because it made sense. Like I said, my thing is I want to tell people stories. So E-Will Reports, that's where she came from. And then just, it's easier just to say, hi, my name is E-Will. Or if you need to follow me on social media, follow me on E-Will Reports rather than Elena Williams, which is long. And a lot of people forget how to spell my name. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know how to say my name. I'm just being real with that too. Yes, so Humblebee. Humblebee is another one of my babies. I came up with Humblebee because one day I just need some extra coins, and my hairstylist, shout outs to Margaret Renee or Sweet Hair by Marg, she told me that one of her clients needed a personal assistant. I am very detail oriented, like super, super, super detail oriented. I can like organize closets. I'm just very detail oriented. So she's like, I think that you would be a great personal assistant for her. Like you're polished, you know how to like keep a schedule together. And then also I'm like big on writing down everything. Like that's a big thing for me, that's how I keep my head together, especially being a mom. I have to do that even more. So she's like, oh, I have a client, they need a personal assistant. So I became her personal assistant on the side with everything else that I do. And it just worked. It brought to my attention how like a lot of people sleep on being a personal assistant because they think that you're being like a slave or like you have a master and they're telling you what to do. But it's really not that. Like you actually step into rooms that you never thought you would step into depending on who you are a personal assistant for. And that opened my eyes. Like it truly opened my eyes. Like, you know what? A lot of people could get a lot out of this like I have. So I started Humblebee, which is hiring personal assistants for professionals rather, excuse me. And now I'm working on building up my clientele again, because once I had my daughter, I did stop, but thankfully I'm thankful for my business consultant that is helping me build brick back up. And so Humblebee is back active, by the way. So if you need a personal assistant, I'm your girl for that. But yeah, that's how I started Humblebee. It was just simply I became a personal assistant for somebody, and then I just took it and ran with it. I'm always finding different ways to grow myself and better myself, and I'm always looking for things to be lucrative. It has to make sense for me. So once I became a personal assistant, I said, what can I get out of this? And so that's what I got out of it, is my baby Humblebee, personal assistant services. My family has played a tremendous part in who I am, in a lot of ways. But to break it down for you guys in a short time period, both of my parents were business owners. They were both entrepreneurs. Yeah, they were both entrepreneurs. And so I've always been in an entrepreneurial mode since I was a little girl. It's just something that I feel like it was a DNA thing. I felt like I had no choice. Yes, working for other people, it's definitely a building block for you. And I'm not saying like, oh, I'm against that. Not at all. I've worked for plenty of people and they've helped me to get to where I am. But I always knew at the end of the day, I wanted to work for myself. And that at the end of the day, also knowing who I am, I couldn't work for somebody for too long. I guess you can call me like a shot caller. So I like to call the shots in my life. I like to be the director of my life. And so entrepreneurship is the only way that I could see it. And my mom plays a huge role. My Nana plays a huge role in my life. And my great grandmother plays a tremendous role in my life. And I spoke on my great grandma Effie before. That was my OG that put me on to wanting to be a journalist and a reporter and a media personality. That's my grandma Effie. And then my Nana, which is my mother's mom. I'm actually Elena the third. My daughter's actually Elena the fourth, but Elena the senior is my Nana. And she was a first gen from the Philippines. And her story is like something you would read literally out of like a book. She came here, didn't know English. She couldn't even speak English to her husband that she married over in the Philippines. And she came to the States just off of straight, pure faith. And she eventually learned English. She learned how to cook. She learned how to clean. She ended up having 11 children. Had 11 children, raised them with my grandfather. I love my grandfather too, so it's not that he was an influence in my life, because he was a man. He used to like build their houses from the ground up. He, as a way of getting her hand in marriage, he built her parents a home in the Philippines. That was the way that he got my grandmother's hand in marriage. And my grandmother didn't have the education I had. So that was also a big reason why also I went to go get my education, was for my Nana. Like, it didn't make sense for me to be named Elena and I didn't go get my education, and my grandmother literally could not go get her education. Because a lot of people don't know about this, but in the segregation time, my grandmother, just like blacks weren't able to go into certain water fountains or certain diners, my grandmother wasn't either. So I really took pride in getting my education, and she was a big influence of why I went back the second time. And I was like, I have to finish this, because what would Nana Selden think of me? My mom, ooh, she's such a bull. Like, my mom has been through a lot, but she's never made it an excuse. And I am forever indebted to my mother for everything that she has done to make sure that I'm able to be the woman that I have and be able to have the free range to decide and be the shot caller in my life. And yeah, of course, my baby girl, but that's by default. Like, she didn't ask to be here. I am so thankful to be her mother and that God chose me to be her mother. So she's also just like a driving force for me, and her energy is just, that's my baby. I love my mentors, and they know that. I hope they know that. My mentors outside of my family, and they have become my family, is Michael and Lisa Hankins. That is a power couple to me. Lisa has a story of her own. Oh, goodness gracious. Amazing. Michael has a story of his own, and he is such a bullet in the media production world. He's one of those people too that's like a hidden gem. And Michael has taught me so much. Yes, I went to school for journalism and reporting and being a media person, but he has really given me the opportunity to polish myself. And he has given me real constructive criticism in my field, things that I thought that I knew. He has helped me to polish myself and to clean up my act in certain aspects. But he's also taught me a lot. A little bit of advice I can give to people my age and younger is really, really listen to what older people tell you. It's okay not to know everything. It is perfectly okay not to know everything. They have been where they have been for a reason so that they can teach us. And it's not, I know oftentimes people are like, oh, they may try to tell me what to do. It's not that. It's that they see something in us. And we definitely need to take in the advice that they give us, the constructive criticism that they give us, the advice, the whole list. Just listen. Just listen. It's okay to listen. And I'm also very thankful for having the experience that I had behind the camera, because a lot of people want to be in front of the camera, but it really does take a person to be able to know both. If you learn behind the camera, I promise you, you will excel even more in front of the camera because you have a certain understanding of everything that's happening around you. So that's just 2 tidbits that I had to throw in there that I think is really important. Just being a young person in this field. So yeah, and I get that from my OGs too. So shout out to my mentors. I love y'all. In the current age of technology and AI coming out and being birthed, and even now like BI and all this stuff, it's insane. But take advantage of these artificial intelligence integration tools. They're for us to use. And I think a lot of people freak out, and this is something I've learned recently, is that it's not supposed to take over our world. It's not, but we're definitely supposed to take advantage of it and use it as tools. These are tools for propelling us forward. Take advantage of them. I have started even like looking into AI integration tools when it comes to Humblebee, my personal assistant services company, because there's one thing, personal assistance is now kind of falling over into the artificial intelligence field now, and it's kind of sweeping it, but it doesn't have to. If we use these as tools rather than allowing it to completely take over fields that we're in, we could really work with it hand in hand, and it could work. But I think a lot of people are, the fear of it, they're not using it. And I think the fear too, this is just a thought. I don't know everything, but if we were to allow fear to overcome us, that's when it will take over. But if we use it as tools, whether it's in media production, whether it's in personal assistant servicing, whether it's in marketing, we really can also see gray areas that we never saw before as human beings. And it's a tool. It's a tool that we should use, not that we should allow it to become us. So yeah, there's a lot going on with AI right now. And there's a tremendous thing that TLAP Media is doing right now. Tim is actually about to launch a book on AI and the different integrations, how you can integrate it into your life and your professions. Keep an eye out for that, because he even talks about integration in media production. He talks about with website design and search engines, which I think is just mind-boggling, because a lot of people don't even know how to create prompts for it. So keep an eye out for that. I'm super excited for what Tim has coming out soon. And yeah, be sure that you guys follow what TLAP Media is doing. Digital marketing and the digital marketing funnel is something that a lot of people don't know about. There's a math to it. So in my head, what I call it is awareness, consideration, and then from there is like your sales funnel right there, or however you get your money, monetary, whatever it may be, whether it's a lead, it's a website visit, whatever it is, how you're able to get revenue. So that awareness, the top part is the awareness funnel, and that's actually getting your brand out there, your ICP, your TAM, your total addressable market. Then there's consideration, which is, okay, now that we know this name, now that we know this brand, now that we know who Tim is, Elena is, Humblebee, whoever it is, okay, I'm going to consider them. I'm going to consider them as my new podcast or my new personal assistant servicing company. And I'm going to consider actually becoming a consumer rather. Then you have that revenue part of the funnel, which is, okay, you got me. I'm here. Let's talk business. Let's sit down. Let's actually have a meeting. Let's talk about what we can do moving forward. So once you're in that sales funnel, you actually go all the way to the bottom, and then that's where revenue. Okay, now that I'm working with TLAP Media, now that I'm working with Humblebee Personal Assistants, how are they helping me to bring in revenue? So that's how I break down my 3 funnels. A lot of people usually break it down the same way too. But yeah, that's like the math of digital marketing and how you can get revenue out of just starting with awareness, of bringing your brand awareness and bringing it to people's eyes and attention, and then being able to be at the bottom of that funnel and get the revenue that you want. Be sure to visit www.tlapmedia.com to get the full Tim Talks interview. Hope to see you guys soon.